Perspicacity, written wholly by Brian Fredward MacGregor, Season 2, Episode 10. Just a dare, but would you risk leaving the forest? It was a wild morning, one wild morning of many, one which lay with the weather sleeping by its side. I'm a dare, the first son of Acton. I'm one of the woods folk. I was born on a stormy night. The wind howled and the trees were broken on that night. I slept under the great oak, and I was found by an old wise man, he of the forest as he's called. He placed a blanket over me, which now is my cape. It protects and shields me from all those who may try to harm me. The cape and its protection only works within the forest, it seems. My uncle says he knows he of the forest very well. I now sleep in the forest and live there too, as I protect the settlement from those who may harm or try to harm those who live within the settlement. I am one with the weather. The wind has my back, the sun warms my face, and the rain hides the sound of my footsteps. But none of these hides me, truly. I am the leader within this forest settlement, and as for my family, I don't really know them well at all. They did say they wanted to rule the forest with me and remove the rogue clan that were continually pestering us here, but at a price. I would need to give up my leadership and all our resources, which I wasn't planning on doing. I wouldn't do that for my family, let alone for any strange, violent clan who were continually attacking us. They always knew our weak spots and where we were. My family often asked me to visit them in a neighbouring village, but I knew I couldn't leave the settlement unguarded, and my cape only worked within the forest. My family regularly asked if they could borrow the cape, as they had a foe themselves they couldn't beat and needed its protection. I said to my family it wasn't possible, as we at the settlement had the same problem, an unknown foe. They added, I probably knew my enemy better than what I thought. But I replied, I had no idea who they were. To be honest, and if I'm being quite frank, I hadn't seen my mother and father in years. It had been so long. The cape has a mark of a tree elder on it, namely he of the forest, on the inside. It's a mark I recognise as taking the wearer to the Cosmina, the inner world. Most other mortals live only in the outer world. It has its risks. The wearer ages physically, which can't be undone. I too shall pass this cape on to my son or daughter when the time shall come, before I leave this world, this outer world. On the cape, the first button keeps the wearer in the outer world. Buttoning the second puts the wearer in the inner realms, the inner world. There is only two fastenings on this cape. This, of course, is also known by the elder of the forest, who placed it on me soon after birth. Just now I'm 43. I've used the cape probably about 12 times now that I remember of, and it saved me. The cape is my life. A letter, a scroll came today. It warned me that a rebel clan were coming to take over the settlement, claiming it as their own. So it gave us a chance to leave. We were not. We had many resources here in the forest, animals, crops of fruit and berries, and of course wood. I was an ace shot with my bow and arrow, and quite handy with an axe, as it happens to be. I always wore my cape, just in case. I always keep it buttoned up with the first fastening, ready to move out of the outer world into the inner world. I was ready to meet the challenge of the woodland and that of the clan, who were claiming it as their own settlement. It was getting very late on that wet, rainy night when they came through the forest in groups, armed to the teeth. The rain hit the sound of their footsteps as they passed on up to the settlement. At that point they disappeared from view. I couldn't figure out what happened. I wiped the rain from my face and out of my eyes and looked again. Still nobody was visible. Then it dawned on me. They also had capes, either identical or similar to mine. I buttoned up the second button and within a second I moved into the other world. I saw about 10 swordsmen advancing towards the settlement. I pulled out my bow and fired 4 shots before my position was compromised. I took down 4 of the swordsmen before I was spotted, and as I removed the second button, the rest of the clan did as well, who then appeared and disappeared, hidden by the bracken. They wanted a fair fight, or at least what they thought was fair. I could do that. I took a large stick and threw it to the side of where I last saw the swordsmen hiding, 2 of whom jumped up and moved to the side within seconds of it landing. I fired 3 times, hitting each of them once, missing on the second shot. There was 4 swordsmen still hiding, waiting on me. They know me, it seems. With every move, very skilled swordsmen indeed. It then dawns on me, I have no idea where any of them are. I'm suddenly surrounded, to an extent, by 4 swordsmen from behind. The self-appointed leader then says, "He's mine, step aside, guys." The swordsmen attempt to circle, draw back, making a larger crescent instead. I pull at the cape, pulling it around me, fumbling with it. The leader simply sniggers at me. I then button the second fastening, at which point I enter the inner world and vanish from view. He walks up to where I once was, and I notice it unbelievable. He is wearing my father's neck chain, which swings from side to side, which suddenly appears and disappears behind his torn tunic. He too moves to the place with the second button on. Although I'm losing strength very quickly, I do realise my cape is actually inside out, and I'm becoming younger. The cape grows heavier and heavier, and with a sudden blow, I lunge, striking the leader straight in the neck, who collapses immediately in a heap. He then stops moving shortly after clutching his neck briefly. For some reason, he thought he wouldn't need his cape until the last moment, like he knew my next move. At this point, the rest of the swordsmen back off slowly, circling backwards and outwards, away. In shock, the remaining swordsman turn slowly, and after getting so far away from me, I place an arrow in each of their backs as they run, with each of them falling. I approach the slain swordsman, who was the apparent leader. He is wearing a mask of some description, which I pull off, and as I do, I realise the slain man is my own brother. Oh my word. I check the rest of the bodies, which I shot with arrows just now and from earlier. Removing their masks, they too were family members. Oh no, they were my brothers. They were all my brothers, all of them. Oh no. My uncle was told about the commotion. He suddenly appears and says that he was he of the forest, and that he himself had been removed from the family. He was sorry, but the family wanted his forest to come hell or high water, and that also my brothers had killed our mother and father, and that I was next in line to leading the family and the village, which is why they wanted me gone, and the cake too. My uncle added, it was just a dare to get me to leave the safety of the forest. They knew the weaknesses of the cape. They all had 1, 2. The end. A Brian Fred Worm MacGregor production.